welcome to the interview. My guest, S.I. Jallo of the Gambia Revenue Authority. Of late, he has been appointed Commissioner Domestic Tax, and prior to that he was Director Technical Service and VAT Project Manager, and I expect that you're still VAT Project Manager. S.I. Jallo, welcome to the interview.
Thank you, Malik. It's my pleasure to be here.
Good. Like I said in the introduction, until recently you have been Director of Technical Services and just recently been appointed as Commissioner Domestic Tax. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you, Malik. Thank you.
Very well.
Thank you very much.
How does this appointment affect your job?
Well, I must thank Allah first. Thank His Excellency the President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Professor Dr. Yahya A.J.J. Jammeh, for the confidence he has bestowed on me and my other colleagues who have been appointed to higher positions to run the affairs of Gambia Revenue Authority. I think it's a pleasure for me, it's a pleasure for my family and all those who are associated with me in one way or the other. It gives me the opportunity to play a bigger role in the development of this country, and you know the institution I work for, Gambia Revenue Authority, is very strategic as far as the development of the country is concerned. So I think this is a challenge and an opportunity at the same time. We will do our utmost best to make sure that we contribute our quota towards national development.
Two of your other colleagues have also been appointed. One of them is Yankuba Dabo. And,
yes.
And who's the other? Give us an update.
Yes, Mr. Ansumana Tarawale was appointed Commissioner General, Gambia Revenue Authority. Before that appointment, he was the Commissioner of Customs and Excise. And Mr. Yankuba Dabo was appointed Deputy Commissioner General, Gambia Revenue Authority, and is also responsible for, heading the Department of Customs and Excise. So he's also Commissioner of Customs. So before the appointment of Mr. Dabo, he was the manager at the seaport, at the Banjul seaport.
Well, great challenges lie ahead. And of course, I don't know how you're going to surmount these new challenges.
Well, like you have said, Malik, it's a big challenge because the job of revenue collection is a very difficult job. We alone cannot do it. It's a job that requires a lot of collaboration and cooperation from all sections of society, because taxpayers come from all sections of society. And for us to be successful in our task, it takes, two important things. Basically, two important things are supposed to happen. On our part, we have to be prepared to make sure that, on the issues of tax administration, we are definitely doing our utmost best to make sure that, we administer the taxes in this country in a very effective and efficient manner. The other aspect of, the job has to do with our relationship with our taxpayers. And I would use this opportunity to appeal to all Gambian taxpayers to really, help us in making our job easy by making sure that they become very compliant. By very compliant, I mean voluntary compliance, that let them be filing their returns and making their payments as and when they fall due. And I think that is very important. On our part, we'll do our utmost best to use our offices to facilitate their compliance by making sure that we reduce drastically the cost of tax compliance for Gambian taxpayers.
Gambia Revenue Authority is government's collection depot for revenue. How does the system work?
Well, like you have said, it's responsible for collecting government revenue, and the mandate suggests that all revenues at the national level have to be collected and accounted for by Gambia Revenue Authority. And these are the revenues that are available in terms of helping with the execution of the national budget by making sure that a whole range of public goods and services that are required for the welfare of Gambians are provided. To do that, we have two important operational departments that are responsible for the revenue collection. We have the Department of Customs and Excise, which is responsible for collecting revenue on international trade. Basically the imports, most of the revenue coming from the imports that are coming into the country. You also have the Department of Domestic Taxes that is mandated to take care of the internal taxes, and these could be taxes we are getting from companies, taxes we are getting from salaries, like the pay as you earn, you pay from your employment income, the sales tax, a whole, a range of taxes, that definitely we have to collect to make sure that, we are able to mobilize all the revenues that are required to, finance the development of this country. So we also have other important, departments, and units within GRA. The Directorate of Technical Services is there, the Directorate of Finance and Management Services, and Internal Audit. Of course, these are very important because the operational departments require the full support of these, support departments to be able to operate in a very effective and efficient manner.
So you collect these taxes and you pay to the Central Bank of the Gambia?
Certainly, yeah.
Very well. Now, you have just embarked on a sensitization campaign for the introduction of value-added tax, known for short as VAT. What is the difference between VAT and sales tax?
Well, fundamentally, Malik, both of them are consumption taxes. Let's understand that both VAT and sales tax, they are consumption taxes. So what is different here is, one, the charging mechanism. For sales tax, it's just collected at a single point, like at the point of sale. When a good or a service that is subject to sales tax is sold, then sales tax is collected at that level. It is also collected when goods are imported into the country. So, but in terms of the charging mechanisms, like I said, sales tax is charged at a single point when the sales are happening within the domestic economy. But when it comes to VAT, the charging mechanism is multi-stage. It can be collected at different stages of the production and distribution of the taxable good or service. So last time we were discussing here, and I gave the example of, where you have, the furniture being transformed, from a timber to furniture and finally sold to a final consumer. At every stage, when a transformation occurs, and of course when a transformation occurs, you will see a new price being charged to reflect the value that has been added. At every stage, VAT has to be collected. The other thing has to do with the fact that, generally, the sales tax, does not, have what we call input tax credit. So that is just a kind of refund, that exists, with the VAT, which means that if you are a business and you are registered for the VAT, then basically it means that you, the business, whatever VAT you had paid on your transactions, be they imports, be they on things that you bought in the local economy, once those purchases were directed towards the production or the distribution of goods to final consumers, then you would be entitled to a refund. That's what we call input tax credit. And by design, that refund is very important, because if it was not provided, then it becomes a cost for the business, which they have to reflect in their price. So which means me and you would have paid a higher price than it would have been, the case if at all, there was no refund mechanism being in place. So the VAT is very good, both for revenue purposes and in terms of helping with the stabilization of prices in this country.
We understand that this VAT came about as a result of a piece of legislation that was passed in the National Assembly, and it will be in effect 1st January 2013.
Thank you.
Was this government that went to the National Assembly through your line minister and passed the motion?
Well, I must seize this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, his permanent secretaries, and all the senior government officials in finance for the tremendous, amount of support they had given within, so short a time to make sure that, this bill was passed, in the National Assembly. It took a lot of work to do that, because there is the commitment of government, there is the commitment of, officials at the Ministry of Finance to make sure that come January 1st, 2013, we start the VAT.